Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Daily Blend. I am your host, AC, and we are joined in studio today by Chris Schwedtmann, who is a documentary filmmaker.
Ooh, that sounds so official.
It does sound super official. Is that what you call yourself?
I wish I could say that's my full-time job. I actually do video production for corporate communications, but this is my side gig.
This is a special side gig.
That's right.
Tell us about what you're working on.
Yeah, so right now I'm working with Love Columbia to make a documentary about the history of the African American church in Columbia and kind of the local Boone County area too.
Okay, and so let me guess who is the who's the mastermind behind this?
Yeah, so this was it started out as an idea between Pastor Ruffin at Second Baptist and Jane Williams, of course. And they wanted to make a video about this history. There's a lot of rich history, and they thought, hey, this would be a good video to make. We could get the word out. And then because a lot of these older churches that were part of this needed some capital improvements. And so they asked me to make just a video. And after we started researching it, this story is so much bigger, and now it's kind of a year and a half later developed into a full-fledged, full-length documentary film.
Yeah, and I mean, have you just learned so much?
Oh my goodness. I just had no idea of the history, how foundational these 8 churches are. And it's based on 8 foundational churches that started meeting 2 before the end of the Civil War and emancipation, and then 6 others after that. But close in the 1860s and one in 1878. Just the amount of history, and then the incredibly famous people from Boone County and Columbia that came out of these churches. It's pretty amazing. There's just a wonderful vignette story for each one of these.
Yeah, and you said you've been working on this for a year and a half now.
Yeah, so that's one of those things when it's a side gig. You know, I wish I had some staff, and so that's kind of where we're at right now. We've done a lot of the research, and the university has been very helpful. So I've had some great grad students work with me to help research, but I need more of that, and so that's where we're kind of in that fundraising. Because it looks like now we are going full length and we'll need a crew, but we need the research to kind of document all of this stuff, because you don't want to go public with all this without checking your facts. You know that.
Exactly.
You better have your facts
That's
right.
right.
And a lot of this is oral tradition, and then you just want to verify all of that. So that's where we're at right now, is verifying that and then starting to put the storyboard together.
So what do you need?
So right now, wonderful if there's people that want to do research in public history. Obviously, we're working at a nonprofit, so Love Columbia is our major sponsor. If you would be interested in giving to this to help pay for the research and the crew, if you just want to be involved, if you know someone who has information about these 8 historic churches, my guess is there is a box of incredibly special information tucked away somewhere in someone's attic that they just never knew. And maybe if they hear this, it would spur them and go, you know what? I have that from my grandmother, my great-grandmother, who attended one of these churches.
Yeah, that is very
I would
probably
love to
true.
have that. Yeah.
That is very probably true.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it just takes you to hear that
Right.
somebody is looking for something for you to say, oh,
Yes.
there is something in my basement or
Yes.
at my grandma's house in the attic that might be helpful.
Yep. And so the 8 churches, one of the earliest that was founded was Mount Celestial. Now, Mount Celestial now meets downtown here, but originally they were out in McBain. And so if you go out towards McBain in the Eagle Bluffs conservation area out there, it's set right off Mount Celestial Road. It's an old gravel road. And now it's a For Columbia project. We're actually building a pavilion for the church to use in outdoor worship. And so there's this wonderful photo in the 1900s of hundreds of people on the hill at Mount Celestial for what was then a basket dinner, which is a tradition that started in a lot of these country churches. Then there is Sugar Grove Baptist Church. It was started in that time right around the end of the Civil War. Fifth Street Christian Church. It was originally Second Christian. But in the 70s, they're like, you know what? We don't want to be the Second Christian Church. We want to be our own thing. And so they named Fifth Street, where the current building is. Obviously, Second Baptist. Right downtown, iconic church that's right on Broadway, St. Paul African Methodist Episcopal Church, and then St. Luke is another one downtown. Then we go back out to the country for probably one of the more storied churches, Log Providence, which is kind of out there in the country, still by the airport. And so those were the original locations. And then we have Mount Hope, which is kind of north and east of Columbia. And it was established in 1878. Now they meet in town as well. So I think I've got them all there in that list. So if you're a member of these churches or know history, I would love to hear about that.
Okay. And how can people how can they find you? Can they find more information?
Yeah. So the easiest way is to contact Love Columbia. They know I'm working on this project and say, I've got information for the African American Historic Church documentary. And then they'll take that information and give it to me. So at lovecolumbiamo.org. And then you can call up at Love Columbia as well.
Yeah. So what do you anticipate? What do you anticipate completion time on this to be?
Right. Yeah. So I would love to be writing script work this summer. We've done a couple interviews already just because, with older church members, you're like, I want to get this history. And when you have availability, I take folks. But I'd like to get a script and a storyboard and then start really building those interviews. There's some folks from the university. There's some authors from out of state that we'd like to bring in. And so that's another funding issue too, is one of the wonderful ladies, Dr. Frances Jones Sneed. She wrote a wonderful documentary for her doctorate thesis. It was called The Bottom of Heaven. And it really documents the Three Creeks area, which is it's the 4 country churches. We would love to bring her in, but she's up in the Northeast.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'd love to get her here too.
All right. Well, Chris, you know what? I am wishing you guys all the best on this because I cannot wait to get my eyes and ears on this documentary when it is done, because I know it is going to be amazing. So if anybody out there is listening or watching and has information or has interest in contributing in any way to this project, please reach out to Love Columbia and to Chris to help get this amazing project done. Thank you for joining us, Chris.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the time.
This is your Be Well moment by Burrell Behavioral Health. Taking time to identify what we're feeling can help us know how to care for our brains. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, notice any feelings you have in this moment. Try giving them a label, such as excitement or frustration. Can you let these feelings be there without judgment? Notice how comfortable or uncomfortable this feeling is for you. Then ask yourself, what is one small step I can take to care for me today?